This couldn't have come at a better time as Aaron Boone has given multiple injury updates on two major pieces of this Yankees bullpen that could help give this team a boost in the back end of games. We'll break down the timetables and everything surrounding these players moving forward in this 2025 season. But what's going on, guys? Alex Brooks back here on Yankees Digest, giving you guys a daily dose of Yankees content every day of the week. And if you guys want to stay up to date on everything revolving the New York Yankees, you guys know the drill out here. If you are part of that 75.7% who aren't subscribed to these videos, I encourage you guys to subscribe, comment down below to join in on this conversation surrounding the New York Yankees. I know it's tough to watch these Yankee games day in and day out because of how much they are struggling, but we got you on here with everything regarding New York Yankees updates and everything under the sun revolving the Bronx Bombers. But let's get right into this video as we got some major updates from manager Aaron Boone on the state of the bullpen moving forward. And this is very encouraging when breaking this news down for the New York Yankees, saying that Fernando Cruz and Ryan Yarborough are scheduled to begin rehab assignments on Thursday. That was Aaron Boone before Game 1 against the Minnesota Twins, and it's definitely huge when talking about starting off a guy like Fernando Cruz. Cruz has been crucial to the Yankees' early season success as he was a really dominant back end pitcher. He would come in the seventh inning. He would come in the eighth inning as, helping Luke Weaver and Devin Williams when they were on a roll. Obviously, Devin Williams has been not performing up to snuff so far in this last month of August and late July. So getting a guy like Cruz, you got him from the Jose Trevino deal back with the Reds in the offseason. And this is huge because the Yankees really need their bullpen to be fully locked and loaded this last month and a half and just have everyone on deck for any one of these games, because the Yankees, they're right, teetering on the playoff spots right now. They're in the third wild card spot. They're third in the division, so they can take any addition that they need. And getting a guy like Fernando Cruz is huge moving forward for the Yankees and their playoff chances. And just looking at his stats before he went on the IL, 2-3 with a 3.00 ERA with 54 strikeouts. A guy who is up there in age. He's 35 years old, so he's been around for a while. So a guy who has had experience with, just both with the bullpen and just having, closing experience as well, but someone who has found his stride recently in his career at the back end of his 30s now with the New York Yankees. He was having a fantastic year before he went on the IL. So someone who's trying to pick it back up for the New York Yankees and be a spark that the Yankees really crucially need, and a little bit more on what he can provide and what his timetable is looking like, saying Cruz is slated to make 3 rehab appearances with Double-A Somerset before being activated from the 15-day injured list, Brian Hoke of MLB.com reports. Cruz got through a 19-pitch live batting practice session Sunday, clearing the way for him to begin a rehab assignment. He's looking at a potential return toward the end of next week if all goes well. Cruz has been out since late June with a strained oblique. And yeah, it has been very crucial for the Yankees to get someone like Cruz. If I can get to the right picture here, the Yankees with Cruz in his last 7 games before he went on the IL, 1-1 with a 1.42 ERA with 12 strikeouts when he was in his last 7 games. So, but you're seeing with obviously the 5.40 ERA in last 15 games, but when you look at the last 30 games, just very consistent. 2-3 with a 3.30 ERA, 2 saves. So he came in with he was able to save the game and just, be able to be very flexible when talking about a guy who, is at 35 and can help all of these guys, whether they need to spell for a couple games, whether it's Devin Williams, who has been struggling mightily so far in this month of August, or if it's David Bednar if he needs a day off, or Luke Weaver. So getting a guy like Cruz, especially at the end of next week, heading into late August, I mean, huge. It's just really great to see that a guy like Cruz, who the Yankees have really been heavily relied on in the beginning of the season, can now come in here and develop a little bit more and help the Yankees to clinch a possible playoff spot if all goes well in these last couple months, because the Yankees need to start winning if they want to get that playoff spot. And then just moving over to Ryan Yarborough. And with Ryan Yarborough, he is also on track to come back for the New York Yankees, as Aaron Boone talked a little bit more about him. He said, with Yarborough, it just depends on how much we want to build him up, Boone said. When do we grab him? Do we keep building him up? We'll see what we're dealing with regarding the Yankees rotation and bullpen. How he's doing, there's no set on when we're going to do that yet. So the timeline for Ryan Yarborough is definitely up in the air. I mean, the Yankees are hoping that they can have him near late August and beginning of September, but things can be set back with a guy like Yarborough, because he is also a long relief guy and a starter as well. So he's going to have to be built up a little bit more than Cruz, because Cruz is obviously just a guy in the bullpen who's only going to pitch a couple innings. Now with Ryan Yarborough, he's a little bit behind in his in his availability and and his rehab timetable. That's what I was trying to say. His injury timeline when talking about Ryan Yarborough. But a guy like Ryan Yarborough is just someone who the Yankees may need a little bit more than Fernando Cruz, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what I'm meaning regarding that, and just looking at what he has done in before he went on the IL in his last 7 games, 3-1 with a 4.00 ERA, 31 strikeouts. And when you're looking at that, a little bit below 4 and his ERA, very respectable for a guy who is also not expected to start. And he ended up having to start because he was, there was injuries to, Clark Schmidt, Luis Heel. So, there was a lot of different injuries that the Yankees were unfortunately dealing with. So they had to rely on Yarborough just a little bit more. And, just looking at what, these stats for the New York Yankees, this is their bullpen so far. When, just looking at their bullpen, a 4.27 ERA compared to all of these teams. Now, you may be wondering, why are we looking at these teams? It seems like the Yankees are placed all the way down there. Well, this is not first in ERA and then it goes down. It's actually the opposite when I was looking at this. The Yankees, when you're looking at it, Washington is 30th. New York Yankees are 22nd. So they have the 22nd ranked bullpen in the MLB in 2025. And that is terrible. I mean, they are 23rd in home runs. They are 20th in earned runs. So the 2025 bullpen for the New York Yankees, kind of like the whole team, has been underperforming all around. And it's definitely very strange, because the Yankees back like in 2024, they didn't lose a lot of guys. I mean, Jake Cousins went on the IL. They got rid of a couple guys like Clay Holmes, like Tommy Kahnle went in free agency, but they didn't lose like the main pieces. And they also added with Devin Williams as well. So definitely very strange when looking at this bullpen and how they have been underperforming, just like the rest of the team. And, just looking at what this bullpen is looking like. Devin Williams, Luke Weaver, David Bednar, and Duvall have came in and done really well for the New York Yankees, getting them from the trade deadline. But then, when we're looking at these other guys, like obviously Jake Cousins went on the IL earlier in the season. Jonathan Loáisiga recently went on the IL, but he wasn't doing as well. Yuri De Los Santos was doing really well for the Yankees. The Yankees have been sending him down, recalling him. So he's been, up with the Yankees, down with the Yankees. The Yankees love to do that for some reason with guys who have been doing well in the bullpen, and they just, they need different roster moves and they just want to send guys and call them back up. But I digress. When looking at just all of these guys, you're looking at this, and none of these guys are, reaches in this bullpen. None of these guys are players that wouldn't be top flight bullpen guys on another team. So, like, you're talking about Luke Weaver and how he has been, inconsistent this year, has picked it up as of late. David Bednar and Duvall have been doing their part, but I mean, you look at Devin Williams, you see it right there. He's the closer, but he's not the closer because he has been very inconsistent and very, just not playing the role of the closer and just doing really bad as of late. And, something really definitely needs to change in adding, Ryan Yarborough and Fernando Cruz to this bullpen. Just be locked and loaded. And when you're looking at Ryan Yarborough being a lefty coming into this bullpen as a long relief, can be kind of like a spot start with for any pitcher in this rotation, and then as well as just long relief being a little bit more flexible because the Yankees have been struggling to get guys past the 5th and 6th inning. So if there's an emergency that needs to happen, you definitely have a guy like Ryan Yarborough that can fit the bill there. And it's just been very, very inconsistent with this bullpen. It's been very just not what we want to see. The Yankees team has been inconsistent as of late, but I definitely feel like the addition of Ryan Yarborough and Fernando Cruz can prove very crucial to this Yankees team with a month and a half left in this season. But that's going to do it for another edition of Yankees Digest. Appreciate all the support you guys are giving us. Subscribe, comment down below, turn on post notifications to get updated on Yankees content every day of the week. And guys, let's go Yankees.